welcome to Synced on Air, brought to you by Turfs Up Radio. I'm your host, Angelique Robb, and today I have a special guest with me, Bruce Allentuck from Maryland. Hi, Bruce. How are you?
Great, Angelique. How are you doing? Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. Yes, I'm doing great. It's great to see you again. It's been a little while. We first met at, at the Elevate conference in Orlando, Florida last year. I'm trying to think when that was.
October, I think.
I think it was, or September, or somewhere around then. But yeah, we had a great time at the concert and
Yes.
and chatting throughout the day. So, and I got to learn a little bit about the new things you were launching, but maybe we want to start with, how you started in the industry, because it looks like you started your company before graduating university. Is that right?
I did. Like so many other people in this industry, this great industry of ours, it all started with mowing lawns in the neighborhood with my friend.
Yeah.
And I took a real liking to the industry, or to what I thought was the industry at the time, and the outdoors, and went to college. I got a degree in landscape design and horticulture from NC State.
Now, were you already in that before you started mowing grass and stuff, or did you have a different major?
So we started mowing grass and stuff at 15.
Oh, at 15. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
We didn't get a job anywhere else.
Yeah.
So we, towed the lawnmowers around the neighborhood and actually made a decent amount of money every week. I started at NC State in forestry.
Oh, okay.
I was interested in the environment and saving the world, and I soon learned that my idealism didn't really match up with what forestry really was. It's a great profession, but just a little different than what I anticipated. And found they had a landscape horticulture program, and transferred over there after my first semester, and started Allentuck landscaping the summer of my junior year in college back here in Maryland. I was in school in North Carolina, of course. Did a little bit of work down in North Carolina while I was in school. And then upon graduation, my dad handed me a box of business cards that said Allentuck Landscaping on it.
Really? Oh, that's a cool present.
Well, he was a printer.
Okay.
So he made them himself and designed them, and off we went. Just started working right away.
Did you want to do that, or were you kind of pushed into it then?
No, he never pushed me into it. In fact, my mom and dad were my greatest supporters.
Oh, awesome.
Because at that time and in our area, and maybe their group of friends, people are like, what is he going to do in the winter? How can he actually make a living at this? All of their kids were going off to be accountants and lawyers and things, and I wanted to get dirty.
Yeah. Good for you. Yeah.
They were extremely supportive. Yeah, worked out pretty well. And I love what I'm doing. And my parents were really supportive of me. And I'm really grateful for that.
Awesome. So, you started, started in Maryland after university full time, and started with a few employees, or just by yourself for a little while.
So no business plan, no capital, the typical story. no real idea. But two of my buddies had just graduated and didn't have jobs, and my brother, my next youngest brother, that summer we probably had the most fun I've ever had in business. We just flew by the seat of our pants. We worked really hard during the day, played hard at night, and just had a great time being together and trying to learn how to make it in this industry. And of course, they went off to their own careers after a while, and I started hiring people. And here we are.
Awesome. And so did you say, let's see, 37 years?
Yeah, that was
won't do the math.
1986. Well, I started when I was 12, so.
Yeah.
It's been a great career, and I don't feel like I've got a lot left to give and a lot left to go, and there's so many things I want to do in it. it's just been real fun. And I can't believe how much time has flown by, of course. I was talking with my uncle last night who just turned 80, and he's like, where did the years go? And I was like, well, I don't know where your years went, but I have a feeling I know where mine went. And, and not that I'm that old, but it's just been I love this industry. I love the people in this industry. I love what we do. I love our missions. And I think that we're a real important industry for what we bring to the table.
I totally agree. I mean, you said earlier about you, you wanted to change the world, save the world. And I feel like COVID and the effects of climate change are
Mm-hmm.
all coming really into the forefront. And the fact that, I've always loved architecture, but I didn't know there was something in between nature and architecture, and
Yeah.
that bridge to include nature-based solutions in architecture and the built environment be more sustainable. I think there's so many things that we can do in our industry. I mean, and I don't know if you saw, ASLA just reported that STEM has been STEM landscape architecture has been designated a STEM curriculum
That's
now,
fantastic.
and that's very new. And my daughter and my son are both at a STEM middle and high school, and I was like, why isn't landscape architecture part of this? Because
Mm-hmm.
it should be. And so here it is. So that's elevating the industry. And we we can. I mean, the floods, the drainage, the water management is
Yeah.
can save the world, save so many communities. And water is something that we need. It's like we need it, but yet we have too much of it when we don't want it,
Where we don't want it. Yeah.
where we don't want it. And I think we can save the world. And
This industry and the people in it make a difference. Um, my personal mission and the mission of Allentuck Landscaping are one and the same. Um, lands we improve lives through landscaping.
oh,
Um,
I like that.
and I trademarked it, so you
Oh,
can't
did
take
you?
it.
Okay.
Oh, heck yeah. And I truly believe that. I believe we improve the mental and the physical being of people, and I think that really
If you
came
do it
out during
right.
COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
outdoors is extremely important to me and my family, um, and we live outdoors. And to improve it and bring it to other people and let them experience it, people are so busy and caught up in their careers, their jobs, their going ons. I felt that during COVID, we really made a difference in people's lives. It's one of the reasons 8 years ago we moved from commercial to only residential, because I felt we could make a bigger impact on people's lives, and that's where I got really excited.
Oh, really?
On
So
a
you
one-on-one.
moved to, so what was the split before you did that? What of
Sure,
work?
we were about 60% residential and 40% commercial at that time, and I just was not enjoying it.
Mm.
And I went away for 3 days to think, um, which is always positive and dangerous at the same time. And I said, what is it that I get excited about in my work? What
Yeah.
do I really enjoy? And at the end of the day, it was impacting someone's lives on a one-on-one basis. Now, I'm certainly not saying that commercial landscaping doesn't have a place in improving lives. I
Oh,
believe it does, but I didn't believe it was
but
for
your
me.
company, yeah. Well, at Sync Live 2023 earlier this year, Jim McCutcheon spoke to that, and he
Mhm.
said he believes that each person that is running a company is really either residential or commercial at heart.
I agree.
and
I agree with that.
and you have to figure that out for yourself. Like you said, your first year of business, how you're figuring things out. You might not figure it out your first year of business, but so how long was it when you said 8 years ago? So
Yeah, about 8 years ago.
okay, so that's still 20 something years into business. So that's, yeah.
Yeah.
um
life
You
takes a
think you
winding path, you know?
did you think that you knew it, but didn't really stop and think about it? Because you said you took some time out to
Yeah.
think about it.
I don't think I had a clear vision until
Okay.
that time.
Yeah.
I literally sat in a hotel lobby up in Boston for 3 days. My wife was attending a conference
Oh, cool.
and just said, I need to figure out what I like and don't like. And
Yeah.
started making lists and thoughts and listening to motivational speeches and just really trying to come to grips with it. And it was a light bulb moment. And I came back and I told our board, we have a board of advisors that we're selling the commercial division. And they said, you can't sell 40% of your company off. I said, watch me.
Yeah.
And
And you
I've
did.
enjoyed it. I love getting up in the morning. I love what it's done for our staff, our team. We have a very long tenured staff. Our crew leaders average over 16 years with me.
Hmm.
And I
Wow.
say with me because I think they believe in me and trust me. And I'm grateful for that. And we've grown tremendously since then uh, and just enjoyed the day a lot more.
That's amazing. What a great journey. And I think, if you're open to it, to listening to what you like and what you don't, you
Mm-hmm.
or your path will come with time.
Yeah.
So wow. And you mentioned your family liking to be outside a lot because you're also a triathlete. Did I say that right?
I've done lots of triathlons, ultra marathons, adventure racing, and I have 3 grown daughters. They take part in some of this craziness too. Um, our vacations are, when we're together, we're spread around the country now a little bit. Are generally spent in the outdoors, and our life here, our house borders a 1,200-acre state forest. If you look out the window behind me, all you're going to see is trees.
Oh, good placement.
Yep, it was intentional. Um,
Well, awesome. Well, and how long ago did you start building your training program internally? Um,
Sure. So my Landscape Academy evolved from an internal training program that we started building a little over 2 years ago. Um,
okay.
and really, the intention was we needed a training program to make sure we're putting the best people out there as quickly as possible, to eliminate headaches, to improve customer satisfaction, job quality, all the stuff you hear about that training programs can bring. And literally, I showed it to some friends of mine in the industry, and they're like, "Well, we want to use it too. What can we do about that?" And I had a digital experience building a digital brand with Right Plans. I said, "Well, we can bring it to the market," um, and that's what we set out to do. We started designing it and putting the content into it. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of trial and error, as I'm sure you can understand, building a
Yep.
publication. Um, but we're helping a lot of companies. And the one thing it's really taught me is that the industry is starved for training.
Mm,
Companies have a real hard time figuring out how to get their people up and running safely, um, quickly, so that they can start making money for the company and become valuable.
yep. Yep. And I think it turnover. Some companies do have a high turnover. And so, I mean, if you factor in how much it costs the company to stop and train somebody, especially if you have to travel,
Mm-hmm.
especially, if it's, hotels and other things. But yeah, just the time out costs the company,
Yeah.
not including the travel. And if you have turnover, which I think every company has a bit of turnover, we've had a lot of turmoil, you know, with during COVID and stuff, so I'm sure a lot of companies are seeing a lot of turnover. It makes it so expensive to hire new people, um, because of they're not going to be earning you money from the start, but you need to
Yeah.
pay them. So
But I would wager I would bet. No, I mean, I don't even need to bet. I know this, that the companies that are doing a good job of training their staff
Yeah.
are showing that they value their staff and they value their people, and that there's far less turnover.
Well,
And
I think that's a good point. Yeah.
the
That,
investment is worth it.
and if you invest, and then maybe if you're not investing, that's why you're seeing the turnover. So that
I
could
think so.
be the repercussion. Yeah.
People want to feel valued. People want to feel like they have an opportunity to grow and that their employers care about them becoming better at what they do. We have to become experts at what we do. And
Yeah.
our employees need to become experts at what we do as well. Um, and the only way that happens is through training. It doesn't happen through osmosis. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if if a young person starting a company or has a small company or even a medium-sized company wants to grow, the only way to do that is pass the knowledge on. You
Yeah.
can't be on every job site. You can't be everywhere.
And you as the owner can't train every person or, and so what, when did for you for Allentuck landscaping, when did you notice that you needed something more than just, you know, one-on-one training? How many employees, I guess? Is it 20? Is it 10? Is it 30? Um,
Well, thinking back to the days of me and my brother and buddies trying to build retaining walls,
oh
day
no.
one, like, how do we do this? And I was the only one that knew. But to grow and grow quickly and become an enterprise, it became pretty obvious a long time ago. I don't know exactly what point that, and we've tried different things, different methods of training over the time, and scheduling it and whatnot. What we needed was something that when somebody signs on to work for our company, we could text them the links to our training program and they could start studying before they even showed up for day
Immediately.
one.
Oh, that's great.
And start studying on their way to the job site. We assign them modules to learn
Yeah.
before we ever get anywhere.
And so you said at the time that we interviewed you for the publication that just came out, it's in the mail right now, but you said you had launched it 9 months before that. So how many people or companies do you have signed on to date?
Sure. Well, I'd rather not give the exact numbers, but we have a lot, more
Okay.
than I expected.
Okay.
And it's growing. You know how hard it is to get companies to try something new.
Yeah.
So a lot of what the work we've done has been unsustainable up till now and probably will be for a while.
Okay.
It'd be nice to hit that flywheel at some point that people are just finding it and signing up because they see the value in it. But the more people we can get signed on, the closer we'll get to that flywheel.
Yeah.
Um, it's just open, building. I never expected to have light bulb moments when I built this, but the light bulb moment is that companies are starved for training, for a
Yeah.
way that works, a way that's sustainable to time and effort. And I'm hoping that's what we've given them.
Yeah. Well, and I also think that, we're seeing a lot of companies, and I think I wish I knew the statistics. I mean, being a part of NALP, you might know, but how many new companies start up each year? But it does feel like in the last, 3 or 4 years, that a
Mm-hmm.
lot of new companies have started. And just from what you're saying, because they love the outdoors, people don't want to be indoors as much. They want to be out moving. It's better for your health. It's, if you do love the outdoors, it's a natural progression. So it feels like a lot more new companies, but I don't know if you have a better sense on that.
I don't have I don't have any data on that. I saw some numbers recently that said there's 360,000 landscape companies in this country. Now that can range from a very small amount of money to what we see on the 150 list and the 100 list. That 92% are under $1 million.
92%. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So, I think that we see a lot of people joining the industry because one, there's a low barrier to
entry.
entry.
Yeah.
There's very little licensure across the country. People want to control their own destiny, especially coming out of COVID.
Yeah.
Where they were on Zoom 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And this is I think the perception of our industry has improved so much. If you look at the equity companies that are investing in it, the roll ups, this is an industry where people can make a good living and have quality of life things like the outdoors and working with people and um,
And
working
good
with their
people.
hands. Yeah, good, great people. Yeah,
Yeah. And well, I also think, you know, oh, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. But that under a million, um, there's probably a lot of things like My Landscape Academy that can help get people over that barrier. It sounds like, how there's like um barriers in company growth.
hmm
And I didn't realize it was 92% of them are under $1 million.
that's
So
according to a
that's,
stat that I saw recently.
yeah.
Put your value in
Yeah.
stats. I can't validate
It
it, but
depends on who's replied, and yeah, it can be
yeah,
skewed a little bit, but still, I mean, a high percent under a million is interesting.
there are very few companies that have much market share at all in this industry.
Well, and we've interviewed a lot of people that have started in the industry in the last 5 to 10 years. And
hmm
I find that really encouraging. And, just like what you said, like what the industry looks like to people that aren't in the industry. Obviously, we have tech people coming in, we
Yeah,
have engineers coming in and building things, and we have I think of a husband and wife team out of Lake Charles, Louisiana, that they launched. Oh, I can't remember exactly, but when I interviewed them, it was probably a year or two ago, and I think they'd launched a few years before that. Wife was a pharmacist, and the
hmm
husband was in alcohol distribution of some sort. I mean, I can't tell you exactly what the
so
details of
drugs and
their
alcohol.
jobs.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah, drugs and alcohol. That's funny. Rock and roll, huh? That's funny. I never put that together. Good one. Um, but they were considering lots of different industries,
yeah,
and they picked, construction and maintenance, um, of, build and maintain landscape company, and they're loving it, and
yeah,
they're doing well, and they're part of the community. Lake Charles in particular had hurricanes hit it like
yeah.
in their first year of business,
Wow.
and hit the town, and they just went out volunteering and really built up quite a community. So yeah, I get really excited hearing about people just coming into the industry brand new, because that means we are doing a better job of saying how great this industry is, and
Sure.
what it entails. You know, it's not just lawn mowing, it's not just construction, it's not just landscape architecture, it's not just commercial. It
Mhm.
just all these different parts. There's a lot of science to it, a lot of engineering and the retaining walls.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Well,
So
think about what it all combines. I mean, it's science, it's art, it's nature, it's sustainability. There's so many boxes that it can check, that and so many directions you can go in it, that you can find your passion and live it out and grow a nice company, provide for your employees, have a decent life. And
yeah.
um, we're a testimony that we have a decent life that we love.
Tell me your catchphrase again for Allentuck.
Improving lives through landscaping. It's not a catchphrase, it's our
Oh,
mission.
sorry. Didn't mean to offend.
That's no offense taken, but it's how I feel about what we do. And
No, I love that. I
you
love
know,
that. Well, tell our audience how they can reach out to you if they're interested in my Landscape Academy?
Sure. So the easiest way is at hello@mylandscapeacademy.com, just how it's spelled behind me. At Allentuck Landscaping, it can be reached at brucea@allentucklandscaping.com. Like I was worried about another Bruce joining the company. And at Right Plants, it's rightplantz.com. It's also hello@rightplants.com.
So what is Right Plants? Give us a little summary. Sorry, we didn't go into that much.
That's okay. My pleasure. So Right Plants, one of my daughters and I started about 5.5 years ago, the day she graduated from Virginia Tech in landscape architecture. She lives in New York City now doing low-income housing, which I'm really proud of her for that.
Awesome.
Basically, we're both plant nuts, plant idiots, as my wife says.
And no, plant nuts. It sounds better.
We'll go with plant idiots. It's perfectly fine. When you walk around and talk about the plants, I mean, that's kind of weird. But we were commenting on how we've never found a gardening website that we really liked. And just on a whim, we said, let's start our own. And I mean, there's a lot of great gardening websites out there. It's just, we're odd. So we started with a plant database. So we have about 2,000 plants on it that you can search by zone, flower color, season, deer don't like it, attracts pollinators, whatever you want, and it'll populate those plants. We have pictures, we have data on those plants. So that's a real handy thing for landscapers to use. It's to show customers plants and also to narrow down choices if they get stuck on what plant is going to work for this. So that's been a lot of fun. We wrote a ton of blogs, and we continue to create about 2 blogs a week on everything from vegetable gardening through top 5 hedge plants or whatever. And every month we put out a monthly Right Plants garden guide, which gets a lot of attention. So creating that content has been a lot of fun with her, and working with her has been a ton of fun.
Is it more, so you said for landscapers, so your audience for that is landscapers or homeowners or both?
I think it's both, depending upon what somebody's interested in. Definitely home gardeners. I mean, that's most of the people that see our site, but I've heard from landscape peers that they're finding it to be a great resource and using it on a weekly basis. It's free. Our model there is advertising.
Yep.
Still working on the kinks on that, but it's a labor of love that I get to do with my daughter, and
awesome.
That's the important thing. I have 3 daughters, and she happens to share that passion with me, along with running. They're all runners now, but the other 2 couldn't care less about plants.
Well, I was just at Cultivate recently, so we are going to be putting out some editorial in our next issue about the newest plant varieties that are being launched and being grown and ready to design with and buy. So maybe we can do some collaboration there. Absolutely.
It sounds great.
Awesome. Well, good. Well, I had you say all your website stuff and then we kept talking. But this has been great to catch up with you, Bruce. And maybe we'll even see you for Sync Live next year. Let's talk about that as it gets closer to.
That would be a lot of fun.
Have you there. And yeah, we'll catch up soon. Thanks for joining us on Synced on Air.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Take care.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bienvenidos a Synced on Air, nuestro programa de podcast presentado a los oyentes por Turfs Up Radio. Soy Amy y les traigo el resumen breve del podcast de hoy en español. En este cautivado episodio, la presentadora Angelique Robb entabla una conversación profunda con Bruce Allentuck, presidente de Allentuck Landscaping Co. y ejecutivo oficiario de rightplants.com desde el estado de Maryland. Bruce Allentuck es un apasionado defensor de la industria del paisajismo y nos cuenta su viaje de determinación, dedicación y un profundo amor por el aire libre. La conversación comienza con su viaje nostálgico por el camino de la memoria mientras Bruce relata sus primeros días en el negocio del paisajismo, que comenzó con sus simples aventuras de cortar el césped en su vecindario, junto con un amigo cercano. No sabía que estos humildes comienzos encenderían una pasión duradera y allanarían el camino para una ilustre carrera en la industria del paisajismo. Durante sus años universitarios en ese estado, la fascinación de Bruce por el paisajismo lo llevó a obtener una licenciatura de diseño de paisajes y horticultura. En un movimiento audaz, fundó Allentuck Landscaping, incluso antes de graduarse, poniendo en marcha las ruedas de su viaje empresarial. Su tendencia, junto con el apoyo inquebrante de su familia, dio sus frutos a medida que su empresa florecía, experimentando un crecimiento constante año tras año. Después de haber acumulado 37 años impresionantes en la industria, Bruce reflexiona sobre cómo el paisajismo ha evolucionado de un mero trabajo a una forma de vida. El amor por su trabajo impregna todos los aspectos de su negocio, un sentimiento que atribuye al inquebrante aliento y apoyo que recibió de sus padres durante sus años de formación. A medida que la industria del paisajismo experimentó transformaciones, también lo hizo la empresa de Bruce. Un punto de inflexión esencial se produjo cuando tomó la decisión fundamental de cambiar el enfoque de la empresaria de paisajismo comercial a residencial. El razonamiento detrás de este cambio fue simple y profundo. Bruce aspiraba a tener un impacto más profundo en la vida de las personas mediante la creación de espacios al aire libre, cautivadores que brindan alegría, mejoran el bienestar y proporcionarían un santuario para que las familias se concentran con la naturaleza. A lo largo de su ilustre viaje, el compromiso de Bruce con la excelencia y la mejora continua lo llevó a desarrollar la Academia de Paisaje, un programa de capacitación interno diseñado para fomentar las habilidades y la experiencia de sus propios empleados. Reconociendo el inmenso valor que este programa aportó a su fuerza laboral, Bruce dio un paso más y decidió extender sus beneficios a otras empresas de paisajismo. La respuesta de la industria ha sido abrumadoramente positiva, con numerosas empresas reconociendo la importancia de una fuerza laboral bien capacitada y capacitada para lograr un éxito duradero. Bruce también comparte apasionadamente la historia de Right Plants, un proyecto único en el que se embarcó con su hija hace unos 5 años y medio. Unidos por su amor compartido por las plantas y la jardinería, concibieron un sitio de web de jardinería y una extensa base de datos de plantas. Right Plants, esta plataforma digital, ahora sirve como un recurso valioso tanto para los propietarios de viviendas como para los paisajistas, y que ofrece un amplio depósito de información sobre variedades de plantas, consejos de jardinería y asesoramientos de expertos. En la última parte de la entrevista, Bruce imparte valiosos consejos a las aspirantes a paisajistas que emprenden su propio viaje en la industria. basándose en sus propias experiencias, los alienta a perseguir su pasión sin descanso, explorar diferentes facetas del paisajismo para descubrir su nicho y nunca tener miedo de soñar en grande. Bruce enfatiza el papel fundamental de la capacitación y la inversión en los empleados y destaca como un equipo bien capacitado forma la columna vertebral de un negocio de paisajismo exitoso. Él enfatiza la importancia de fomentar un equipo cohesionado que comparte la visión, los valores y la dedicación de la empresa para crear atractivos espacios al aire libre que enriquecen la vida. La pasión de Bruce por el paisajismo y su deseo de tener un impacto positivo en el mundo brillan intensamente. Su historia se erige como un faro de inspiración para los aspirantes a paisajistas y profesionales de la industria por igual. El viaje de Bruce Allen sirve como testimonio del poder transformador de perseguir la pasión de uno con una dedicación inquebrante y su compromiso de mejorar vidas a través del paisajismo. Brilla como una luz de guía para todos aquellos que se atraen a soñar en grande en el ambiente del paisajismo. Muchas gracias por oír el resumen breve de hoy y no se olviden que pueden ir al sitio de web y leer la entrevista completa en español y como siempre, por favor, danos a Sync un gusto y síguenos en nuestras plataformas, en nuestras sociales redes. Hasta la próxima semana. Gracias.